Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with the qualifying round win for the Thanksgiving tournament and Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Before we start, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament guides for Pro, Expert and our Master by going to Patreon. Link to Patreon and our guides is directly in the description down below. Info box you have on the right hand side. Follow it along with my shots. See the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind, those are all suggestions, so you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we're gonna play with a luminary, trying to make this as simple as possible without having to spend something on a better ball. 6 top spin, 2 right spin. We're starting at the top of +2. Blue ring by rough line with a pock 8, a pock 7, 1/5 of the blue ring inside the rough, and half of the blue ring inside the rough with a pock 5 and 6. Adjustment max plus 15, power 5 ball settings, and no overpower, because we're not going to adjust into overpower. Half a ball of curl to the right and try to hit perfect. Great right, great left are safe. And the idea here is to get the ball up to around 375 yards. That's ultimately our goal. Now, second shot is going to be with our short iron. Doesn't matter if you play Falcon, Hornet or Thorn. You go to absolute minimum distance. Then you push up 1 ring. Once you have pushed up 1 ring, you're gonna set backspin here, and whatever backspin needed to get the ball guideline just through the hole. And then we're gonna apply minimum distance minus 10% power 5 ball settings all the time. We're not gonna use slider and stuff like that. Always gonna be minimum distance minus 10% power 5 ball settings. You may be wondering, why do I bother with pushing up 1 ring? It's because we could have an angle that will be a little bit of a tailwind on the second shot, and then we're gonna go in between clubs. So therefore we push up 1 ring to just give ourselves that room. Perfect ball here, and it's gonna be in. That's the beauty obviously with this type of setup. Right that pin with a luminary on hole number 1. Hole number 2, you can play with whatever ball you would like here. Just that it has wing 5, side spin 2, right? 2 right spin, and I'm using 4.1 top spin, which is 4 top spin and 2 clicks extra. That's the correct amount, so you know how much you're gonna get. Top of the inner ring by the rough line, ball guideline through the hole, and then we are going to make our adjustment. In the video here, the adjustment is minimum distance minus 15%. Power 1 ball settings. I would like you to play minimum distance minus 10% power 2 ball settings, which is from the latest testing that we have done the best adjustment for this shot. Obviously there is wind angles here as well, and I'm not using any in this case, as we are not listed any tweaks when it comes to this wind angle direction. The ball comes in just right side here and drops nicely down 4 and hole in 1. Again, minimum distance minus 10%, power 2 ball settings. It's what we are using from the latest tweaks. And hole number 2 has become one of my favorite par 3s so far in this tournament. Hole number 3, we're gonna start with a quarterback and a power 1 ball in absolute NMT position. Set the spins, max top spin, 2 right spin, and then we're gonna play with our Apocalypse and Sniper bags. So we're switching to Apocalypse and Sniper. Now, adjustment is max no elevation, power 2 ball setting, and we're gonna go with inside wall curl to the right. Be very, very careful with not getting any overpower here, because if you're getting some accidental overpower, there is a risk for a glitch roll, which has happened, and not for myself yet, but I'm expecting that to happen. But it has been happening for people trying to follow this shot, and like what it comes down to is mainly that they use overpower without knowing they are using overpower. or that they have a pretty decent 1201. So try to avoid 1201, try to avoid especially overpower. We do want to get the ball down to around 315 yards, and what we're going to do here now is that we're going to start directly with adding max topspin. And here we're actually going to follow yardage, like a classic yardage table. So the setup, max topspin with our sniper, ball guideline to go right side of the hole or the cup, with being past the pin, 2.5 green square. Adjustment from 316 yards is 50% elevation, which is mid distance. 5%, sorry, not 50% elevation, 50% slider with 5% elevation, power 1 ball settings. Adjustment, and that is from 316 yards. Then we add or subtract based on if we have a longer or a shorter drive. Adjust, and then we push up 1 ring after our adjustment. Very, very important. Hit perfect, and honestly, this is going to be a very good chance for a drop, and this shot has dropped more than what I expected. It comes into the rough, rolls up, and we get this ball to drop on the left side of the cup, but that could be explained by looking at my pull angle, which is a 12-1 definitely, which pulls me more right. So straight pull would have been more directly at pin. Hole number 3, super tough with a headwind, and to just have that said, I've tried to make it over, and I could make it over with a nice little power slice, but had to use max topspin with a POC 8, and I had to use the monster truck ball, which is having wind 5, and it was still not every time that I reached over the rough. So then we lay up, we take it for what it is, and then focus on getting this done in the nicest way possible. Hole number 4, we're gonna play with 1 right spin and 5.5 bar top spin. For those that do feel they have the time, start with a navigator ball or any ball that do have 1 right spin to simplify that setup. Top of the red ring by the rough line, ball guideline to be short of hole. We do have a little tailwind, so if we aim to the hole, there is risk of coming in too hot, in my opinion. Adjustment here is going to be 1-1 -1, which would be 7 rings here for this adjustment. And that is the same as playing medium distance, no elevation, power 1 ball setting. So 1-1 -1 with the sniper. Favorite 12-1 with your pull. In this wind angle, we're not going to go any curl whatsoever. We're just going to center the ball and release on perfect. If you do have wind angle that is pointing more right of that, then you're gonna play with left curl, pointing more left of what we have in the video. We're gonna go with right curl. Bounce nicely into the rough, comes in right at pin for a beautiful hole-in-one on hole number 4, which I do feel that with hole number 4 and hole number 7 is a little bit easier to drop than hole number 2, even though, as said, I really do enjoy hole number 2 as well. Hole number 5 is super boring, honestly, and here we're gonna play with a luminary. You can play with a ball with more wind resistance to minimize the amount of overpower you need to use. 2 left spin, and I'm using 7 top spin. This shot has been tested with 6 top spin as well, just to apply to a POC 5 users, and it still works. It's just gonna be a bit tougher. So adjustment, max +15. You can see that I started with the yellow ring by the rough line at +6. What I would like you to do though is to move 1 ring extra left, because I'm hitting a great left here, and based on reports and also what we have done in guide is that we have moved our landing spot 1 ring more left. So we do have the red ring by the rough line instead, and that is with a POC 8, 1/5 of the red ring inside the rough to the right with a POC 7, half of the red ring inside the rough to the right with a POC 5 and a POC 6. Again, the video shows that it's makeable with the yellow ring, but there is some risk, especially if we do play with an 1159 on your drive, that you will go directly into the rough, even with a perfect with the yellow ring by the rough line. So therefore, red ring, very important. Now, second shot, we're gonna have direct headwind here. Super difficult to do anything good with this. So we're gonna play with 7 top spin, 2 left spin, and we're looking to have the second bounce to be just before the sand trap line. You can see that it's pointing way right of the pin. And the reason it points way right of the pin is because we want to use max curl to the left. We also want to prevent us from going into the rough directly if we do hit a bad great left. Adjustment is max plus 10, and then we're gonna apply whatever overpower you adjust into plus half a ring. In the video I'm using 1 ring extra and it works, but I would like us to play with half a ring extra to give it a little bit more, to make it a little bit more easy. Because obviously less overpower means that we have a higher chance to hit perfect. Great right, and I would say that it's my Cataclysm level 8 that saves me with its accuracy, because that was somewhat a pretty bad great right, and we are on green for a pot of an eagle. Hole number 5 will most definitely make a lot of players miss out on the eagle, so if you do get an eagle here, you should be pleased. Hole number 6, I decided to go left side here to push ourselves into long iron range. The drive is tricky though, and we need to execute it perfectly. 1/5 of the 4th ring inside the rough to the left, at the top of plus 6. 3 left spin, and we're gonna play 7 top spin. Adjust is max plus 10. Then you can see I'm going into overpower 2 rings. And what it means here is that we shall use whatever we adjust into plus 1 ring in overpower. The goal obviously is to hit perfect. And you will see here that I do hit perfect, and I will bounce on the fairway before the rough and then over to the final fairway. So the thing that I would like you to have in mind here is that a great ball to the right will most likely trickle into the rough. It will be an easy save with a Nirvana from there, but the eagle chance is somewhat gone. A great left, if it's a single great left, you will still be on fairway and play the shot as normal. If you do have a double great left, you will clip the rough with your, what will it be, the second bounce. You will still roll out onto the fairway, but you will be in sniper minimum distance. If that happens, and you have sniper minimum distance, you play minimum distance, minus 5% elevation, power 3 ball setting with the same setup with the ball guideline as we have here now. So let's take a look at the main shot here. So we're gonna do a front fringe check, which is gonna be at the start of the fringe where the fringe meets the fairway, 4 top spin and 1.5 bar left spin. That's our default spins if the drive is where we want to be. Looking to have the ball guideline to be right side of the cup, and we're gonna have to make it go past the cup 1 green square. Now, okay, plus 9 was our check. We're gonna have plus 9 as per default, which is 83% slider, plus 10% elevation, power 3 ball settings. Favor 1201 here for this pull, no 1159 please. What it looks like is that a great ball is going to be death, but trust me, it's not. I've hit great right and great left, and I'm still safe. Sure, if you do hit closer to a good right or a good left, I mean, then we have to blame ourselves, obviously. Then it's most likely not going to be as we would like. But with a perfect ball here, with a correct check on fringe, this is a very good chance, in my opinion, for a drop on a tough hole, which is hole number 6 with that headwind. Obviously, if any other wind moving forward in the tournament, the play is going to be easier. But with the headwind, it kind of complicates it as the drive becomes so difficult. Hole number 7, NMT. Start with whatever power 1 ball you want to start with, and I would recommend to start with one that do have 1 right spin, so we can easier find that 1 right spin amount. 5 backspin is what we're using. This is with a max plus 10 power 1 ball setup, which is 1 to 1 plus 0.7, so 8.7 rings for 8 miles per hour. This is the wind angle we do have, where we are not going to use any curl whatsoever. So we're going to adjust, and I'm going to center the ball and hit perfect. If you have a wind angle that is more left of what we do have here, we're gonna use a right curl. If we do have a wind angle that's more right of what we do have, then we're gonna use left curl. Very important to tweak that, otherwise you will not drop it consistently here in hole number 7. Simple setup, 5 back, 1 right, max plus 10, power 1 ball, settings, and then some small curl tweak depending on wind angle, and we have a good chance for a drop on hole number 7. Hole number 8, start with the quarterback in absolute max distance with a power 3 ball. And we're going to have a blue ring by the rough line like the picture shown. And then we're going to switch to the Apocalypse and Guardian bag. I'm using a rock and roll ball here on the drive, but you will see me using Kingslayer on the second shot. This shot was mainly tested for a win 4 ball approach as first, and then we went over to win 5 ball after, making sure that it will work with a win 4 ball as well. So Kingslayer is the main suggestion of a ball here for those that do have the rock and roll ball and want to spend that ball, then do so, because it's gonna be easier for the second shot. Max plus 10 power 3 ball adjustment, and it's gonna be max overpower with a slower needle and 1.5 ball curl to the right. Now, for the second shot, we're gonna put the slider at 72%, and we're gonna have elevation at 25%, and we're gonna have power 3 ball numbers. And 72% is equal plus 7 pin check. So looking at the pin check here now, we do have a plus 3. So with the Guardian level 9, we can, in this instance, remove or add decimals if we would like. So here I would, with a plus 3 pin check, I would reduce, I would play 72% slider, plus 25% elevation, minus 0.4. Yeah, minus 0.4 as what plus 3 pin check. That's correct. If you do have a Guardian level 8 or Guardian level 7 for that matter, you're gonna have to just do the slider as a standard. You can't add or subtract 0.1, as especially on the Guardian level 8, accuracy is different than what it is on Guardian level 9, and then it's just gonna be weird. Max back spin, 1 right spin. What I'm looking for, as you can see, the ball guideline trickling down at the in between the dark and the bright green square row, and this shot has dropped way more for me than I was even expecting from the beginning. So I think, based on what others have said, I think there is a little funnel there. But I mean, I haven't really found any sticky spot and such, but that's what I feel. So this shot with a perfect is, in my opinion, a pretty good chance for a drop. Hole number 9, I guess the game makers are letting us wait to have some fun wins until the opening round and the weekend round. So here we're gonna lay out, we're gonna do it as simple as possible, and we're gonna use a free-to-play ball called the Luminary. 1.2 top spin, 1 left spin. Adjustment is max plus 15. Power 5 ball settings. Even if you adjust into overpower like I'm doing here, you shall not use any overpower whatsoever. Perfect ball, and we're looking to get this ball down around 352 to 362 yards. Like, I would say ultimately 356 to 357 is exactly where we would like to be. Now for the second shot, we're gonna per default always play with 2 right spin, and we're gonna play with 7 bars of top spin. Put your target in absolute max distance, aim for the ball guideline to go center down the fairway, and then we're gonna apply max plus 10 in our adjustment. Zoom out if the tree is in your way, and if the tree is in your way, then you know you're gonna have a little bit of a headwind on your shot. If it's not in the way, it's gonna be a crosswind or a slight tailwind. Max overpower always if you do have the drive to be between 352 and 362, and that's important to have said. So if you have a longer drive than 362, then you obviously have to apply less overpower. If you have a shorter drive than 352, I mean, tough luck, because honestly, we can't use more overpower than max. The reason we want to keep it at max is because it's then easy to replicate. Having to use somewhere between 2 rings, 3 rings, 4 rings, 5 rings, and max, depending on where we depending on what topspin we're using and stuff like that, is never really going to help us. And again, even if we do hit a great left and a great right, trust me, I've hit that several times, and then you have no problems to stay on fairway. The idea is to not have the glitch roll, And to just have that said, while I'm changing the clubs here, if you do have a glitch roll on your on your second shot, then you will be somewhere in no man's land. Then we recommend to play rings from min with your thorn and play 1% slider for every ring from minimum distance and plus 10% elevation power 5 ball numbers. And that works, which is good to have in mind as a as a backup option. But if we do get it to where we want to, we're gonna do a pin check. And you can see here now that we're doing a pin check with a thorn, and I will explain why I'm using the thorn after the shot here. +8 is the pin check, and we will set per default +7 as default number. So +7 is 72% slider, 10% elevation, power 5 ball setting. So when having +8 here now, I'm adding 0.1 to my adjustment. Bold guideline to go just through the hole, as we do have headwind. We don't want to come into too short, or obviously not too hot either. So the reason we're choosing to play with a thorn here is as we wanted to design this shot to be working with a luminary to keep it free to play when it comes to the qualifying round. And when we are going to adjust the third shot with a falcon or with a hornet, it's going to be more than 10 rings, which is going to mean that we're going to have to pull twice. And pulling twice is always going to have some sort of inconsistency with it, especially if you don't play with grid lines. And therefore we choose to play with a thorn, so we have one pull always, and we always pull over bullseye to have an easier time when it comes to the third shot. Obviously you decide what you want to do, but my recommendation is the thorn for the third shot on hole number 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division with the qualifying round win here for the Thanksgiving tournament in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Get the ultimate tournament guide for Master or for Pro and Expert by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link is directly in the description down below. Thank you once again for watching. Good luck in the Golf Clash game.